You're not stuck. You're just waiting for someone to push you. And deep down, you know it. Success isn't about luck or motivation anymore. It's about mindset. And the moment you stop scrolling and start choosing, you win. So if you're tired of hitting pause on your potential, this is your wake-up call. Every single day, people scroll past opportunities, not because they're not ready, but because they're not paying attention. They think success is a matter of luck or perfect timing. They believe that motivation is something you stumble upon, but the truth is far more powerful and far more uncomfortable. Success isn't found. It's built, and the foundation, it's mindset. We live in a world obsessed with outcomes, money, followers, fame, recognition, but those are the byproducts. What really matters, the stuff that changes lives and builds legacies, is the mindset behind the action. The quiet decisions, the invisible work, the early mornings, the silent commitment when no one is watching. Success doesn't start when your name is in lights. It doesn't begin when your bank account hits a certain number, when you finally get that promotion, or when someone else validates your talent. Success begins far earlier than any of those milestones. It begins in silence, in the quiet spaces where no one is watching. It begins the moment you make a choice, a real choice, to take ownership of your life. It starts the second you draw a line in the sand and say, "This is who I choose to become." That's the difference between those who wish and those who win. Success is not the result of external events. It's the result of internal decisions repeated over and over with purpose and belief. There are millions of people with dreams. Dreams to build businesses, lead movements, become healthier, be happier, live more fulfilled lives. But very few of them turn those dreams into reality. Why? Because most people stop at the dream. They visualize, they hope, they imagine, but they never decide. And until a dream becomes a decision, it stays locked in the realm of potential. You can't achieve what you haven't committed to. A goal without a decision behind it is just a wish, and wishes don't change lives. Decisions do. The truth is, making a decision is more powerful than any burst of motivation. Motivation can give you a push, but only decisions give you direction. When you decide something, not just say it, but actually decide, you shift your identity. You move from "I want this" to "this is who I am now." That's a deep psychological transformation. When you fully commit to something, your brain stops entertaining other options. You no longer look for the escape route. You start looking for the path forward. You begin to filter your choices, your habits, your routines, and your environment through a new lens. Every action starts aligning with the decision you made, and that alignment is where momentum is born. We often wait for clarity before we act. We want the entire staircase to appear before we take the first step. But that's not how greatness works. The most successful people didn't wait to feel ready. They made a decision, and then they let that decision shape their focus, their actions, and their habits. They understood that clarity doesn't come before commitment. It comes after. You decide, and then you start moving. And with every step forward, the path gets clearer. With every action taken, your belief grows stronger. And with every small win, you reinforce the power of the original decision. Deciding to succeed means more than just saying you want it. It means accepting the discomfort that comes with growth. It means sacrificing the short-term pleasure of excuses for the long-term gain of consistency. It means holding yourself accountable when no one else will. It means showing up on the hard days, on the boring days, on the days when your emotions beg you to take it easy. It means choosing action over avoidance, clarity over confusion, and commitment over comfort. There is a moment in every person's journey where they get tired of waiting for permission, waiting for the right time, waiting for the circumstances to align. And in that moment, some people stay stuck. But a few others take that moment and turn it into a decision point. They stop blaming, stop hesitating, stop procrastinating, and start choosing. They choose to lead themselves even when no one else believes in them. They choose to believe in something bigger than their excuses. They choose to stand up, take responsibility, and move forward no matter how small the step. That moment, that single decision, is where the journey truly begins. Because everything that comes after is built on top of it. Your discipline, your work ethic, your resilience, your progress. It all grows from the soil of that one defining choice. And that choice has to come from within. No one else can make it for you. The world can't force you to level up. Your mentors, your family, your friends, they can support you, but they can't decide for you. That power belongs to you and only you. And once you tap into it, everything changes. Motivation is a burst of energy, a fleeting spark that can feel powerful in the moment, but rarely sustains the fire necessary to fuel long-term success. It's the rush you feel when you watch an inspiring video, the surge of enthusiasm that hits you after a good conversation, or the temporary high after setting a bold new goal. But just like a sugar rush, motivation fades. It disappears when things get hard, when you're tired, when the results don't come as quickly as you hoped. That's where most people fall off. They mistake motivation for a strategy. They think if they can just stay motivated, everything else will fall into place. But the reality is far more demanding and far more liberating. The people who succeed in the real world don't rely on motivation. They build discipline. Discipline isn't exciting. It doesn't give you the same emotional charge as a motivational video or a big win. It's quiet, it's steady, it's often boring, but it's also the foundation of greatness. Discipline is waking up early even when you didn't sleep well. It's sticking to your schedule when your mind is screaming for comfort. It's pushing through the reps at the gym when your body wants to quit. It's writing the next page, making the next call, showing up for the next meeting, regardless of how you feel. And that's the point. Discipline is not about emotion. It's about commitment. The successful people you admire didn't get where they are because they were constantly fired up. They got there because they trained themselves to follow through when motivation disappeared. They understood that feelings are unreliable. Some days you'll feel focused and driven. Other days you'll feel lazy, unmotivated, or defeated. If your actions are tied to your emotions, your results will always be inconsistent. Discipline breaks that cycle. Discipline says, I will do it anyway. It allows you to act independent of your mood. And when you can act without needing to feel like it, you become unstoppable. People often ask, how do I stay motivated? That's the wrong question. The right question is, how do I stay consistent? Because consistency beats intensity every single time. Discipline creates consistency, and consistency compounds. One disciplined action won't change your life overnight. But when you show up with discipline day after day, week after week, month after month, your life transforms. It happens slowly at first, and then all at once. You look back and realize that all the little moments of choosing discipline over comfort added up into something extraordinary. Discipline is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. But just like any muscle, it takes time to grow. You don't go to the gym once and expect to be fit. You don't eat one healthy meal and expect to be in shape. Likewise, you can't expect to make one disciplined decision and expect to change your identity. You build discipline by showing up over and over again. Start small. Do the thing you said you would do. Keep the promises you make to yourself. Each time you follow through, you prove to yourself that you can be trusted. You stop being the person who talks and starts being the person who does. That shift, though subtle, is powerful. It builds self-respect, and self-respect is fuel. When you live with discipline, you begin to experience a different kind of freedom. It's not the freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want. It's the freedom that comes from knowing you are in control. It's the freedom of walking into each day knowing you can handle it, no matter how it feels. That kind of self-trust, that kind of reliability can only come from discipline. And once you taste it, you'll realize how hollow motivation really is in comparison. Motivation makes promises. Discipline delivers results. Motivation is a visitor. Discipline is a resident. And when discipline moves in, everything about your life starts to elevate. Your health improves. Your relationships deepen. Your confidence grows. Your goals shift from distant dreams to inevitable destinations. Not because you had a constant flow of inspiration, but because you had the courage to act without it. Discipline becomes the structure that holds your life together, especially when everything else feels like it's falling apart. It gives you a standard to live by, a system to follow, and a set of values to lean on. Your mindset is the filter through which you interpret the world, and it shapes every action you take, every thought you allow, and every limit you either accept or break. It's not just a mental attitude. It's the internal operating system that controls how you respond to challenges, how you pursue growth, and how you bounce back from failure. Most people focus so much on the external, on tools, hacks, strategies, and shortcuts, that they forget the real game is being played inside their head. The way you think about yourself, your life, your work, and your potential is either opening doors or keeping them locked shut. Everything begins and ends with mindset, because mindset determines whether you even try, how long you keep going, and what you believe is possible for your life. There are people with less experience, fewer resources, and bigger setbacks than you who are still thriving. Not because they have more luck, but because they have a different way of thinking. Where most people see barriers, they see opportunities. Where others give up, they adapt. They've trained their mind to look beyond the problem and focus on the possibility. They don't wait to feel confident before they take action. They take action in order to build confidence. That mindset shift makes all the difference. It changes you from someone who reacts to life into someone who takes command of it. You can have the best skills, the best strategy, and the best intentions. But if your mindset is built on self-doubt, fear, or excuses, you'll sabotage your own progress without even realizing it. Your mindset is the lens through which you see your setbacks. If you see failure as final, you'll stop trying the moment things get hard. But if you see failure as feedback, you'll use it to grow stronger, sharper, and more determined. That's not just semantics. That's a whole different way of living. And it's available to anyone who's willing to build it. Building a strong mindset doesn't happen by accident. It happens through repetition, awareness, and deliberate effort. Just like your body needs exercise to stay fit, your mind needs intentional training to stay resilient. That means you have to be mindful of what you consume, what you read, what you watch, who you listen to, and what thoughts you allow to take root. Every day, your mindset is being shaped by something. The question is, are you the one shaping it? Most people never take control of their thinking. They let their thoughts run wild, hijacked by fear, comparison, and negativity. They live in reaction to their circumstances instead of taking authority over them. But the moment you realize that you have the power to interrupt your thoughts, challenge them, and replace them, everything changes. You begin to see that mindset isn't fixed, it's flexible, it's moldable. It's something you can strengthen every single day, just by choosing to be more intentional about how you think. The strongest people mentally are not the ones who never feel fear or doubt. They're the ones who feel it, but don't allow it to dictate their direction. They talk to themselves instead of listening to the noise. They challenge their inner critic instead of agreeing with it. They ask better questions. Instead of what if I fail, they ask, what if I grow? Instead of why me, they ask, why not me? These shifts in internal language may seem small, but over time, they create an unshakable inner foundation. Your mindset becomes your reality. If you believe you're stuck, you'll act like it. And that belief will shape your actions, which will shape your results, which will reinforce the original belief. But if you believe you're capable of changing, of learning, of getting better, then that belief will push you into action, and that action will generate new evidence that you are, in fact, evolving. This cycle works both ways. The only question is which version of the cycle you're feeding. There's power in realizing that you are not your thoughts. You are the thinker of your thoughts. That means you can step back, observe what's going on inside your head, and choose to upgrade the dialogue. You can choose to replace judgment with curiosity, doubt with possibility, and fear with courage. That level of self-awareness isn't just nice to have, it's essential for growth. Because until you learn to lead your mind, it will lead you, and often in the wrong direction. A powerful mindset is what allows you to stay steady when everything else feels chaotic. It's what gives you the ability to focus on what you can control when the world is spinning with distractions. It's what allows you to dream big and act boldly, not because you're fearless, but because you've learned to trust your ability to figure things out. Growth is not found in the moments where everything is easy, smooth, or predictable. Growth lives in the uncomfortable spaces, the unfamiliar, the uncertain, and the challenging. It's forged in discomfort, not comfort. The very process of becoming more, doing more, and achieving more requires that you stretch beyond what's familiar and step into spaces that test you mentally, emotionally, and physically. And yet, most people run from that discomfort. They resist it, avoid it, and delay it. They wait for a version of success that feels convenient, painless, and safe. But that version doesn't exist. Real growth demands discomfort, not just once, but daily. Over and over again, you have to choose the hard path, not because you like the pain, but because you believe in what lies on the other side of it. Discomfort is the price of progress. Every time you choose to do the thing that scares you, the thing that stretches you, the thing that challenges you, you are reinforcing your potential. You are telling your brain and your body, this is the new standard. Most people never reach their full potential because they refuse to embrace the tension that comes with it. They want new results with old habits. They want transformation without sacrifice. But there's no growth without friction. There's no greatness without resistance. You have to step outside the comfort zone, and not just once as a performance, but as a lifestyle. You have to build a relationship with discomfort until it no longer scares you. It drives you. Think about anything meaningful you've ever accomplished in your life. It likely came from a place of struggle, pressure, or challenge. Whether it was learning a new skill, overcoming adversity, pushing your limits physically, or starting something completely new, there was uncertainty. There was fear, there was effort, but you grew from it. You became better, stronger, wiser. That's because discomfort is not your enemy, it's your ally. It's the training ground where character is developed, where mindset is sharpened, and where resilience is built. Every uncomfortable moment is an invitation to evolve. The question is, will you accept it? Most people spend their lives avoiding pain. They avoid failure, rejection, hard conversations, delayed gratification, and emotional exposure. But in doing so, they also avoid growth, connection, purpose, and strength. Avoiding discomfort may feel safe in the short term, but it's dangerous in the long run. It leads to stagnation, regret, and the quiet erosion of confidence. Because deep down you know when you're hiding, you know when you're capable of more but choosing less. That internal knowing is what leads to dissatisfaction. Not failure, but avoidance. The truth is, you are built to handle discomfort. You are made to overcome. It's in your nature to rise. The only thing standing in your way is the belief that it should be easy. Choosing discomfort doesn't mean recklessness. It means intentional pressure. It means doing the thing you've been putting off, starting before you feel ready, holding yourself to a higher standard even when no one's watching. It means building habits that serve your future, not just your present mood. It's saying yes to growth even when your emotions beg you to say no. And the more you do it, the more your threshold increases. What used to scare you becomes routine. What used to intimidate you becomes part of your identity. That's how transformation happens. Not through massive changes overnight, but through daily decisions to lean into what's uncomfortable, knowing that it's sculpting a better version of you. Choosing discomfort also means changing your relationship with fear. Fear doesn't mean stop, it means pay attention. It means you're at the edge of your current limits, which is exactly where growth begins. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's moving forward in spite of it. And that movement is where your confidence is built. You don't become confident by avoiding challenges. You become confident by facing them and realizing you're capable of more than you thought. Every time you act in the face of fear, you are reinforcing your strength, and your identity shifts from someone who hesitates to someone who leads. This principle applies in every area of life. Whether it's your health, your relationships, your career, or your personal goals, growth will require you to do uncomfortable things. You will have to say no to distractions, walk away from convenience, and show up when it's hard. You will be misunderstood, doubted, and criticized, and you will want to quit. But these are not signs you're doing something wrong. They're signs you're on the right path. The struggle is part of the story. The challenge is part of the transformation, and the discomfort is the cost of becoming who you're meant to be. We live in a world overflowing with content. Endless podcasts, motivational videos, social media posts, books, courses, reels. More information than we could consume in a lifetime. Everywhere you look, there's something new to watch, something new to listen to, something new to read. And while this access can be powerful, it also creates a trap. A trap where people confuse consuming with becoming They think because they've watched another speech or finished another book, they've grown. But growth doesn't come from consumption alone. It comes from what you do with it. Real transformation begins when you move from simply absorbing content to actively becoming the kind of person who applies it. Watching motivational content can feel productive. It gives you a dopamine rush. It makes you feel like you're doing something meaningful, but that feeling is temporary if it doesn't lead to action. It's easy to scroll, to binge, to listen, but it's much harder to act, to execute, to reflect. Consuming content is passive. Becoming someone new requires effort. It requires friction. It requires you to step into discomfort, to break habits, to challenge your own thinking, and to show up consistently, even when it's inconvenient. The truth is, most people are addicted to learning because it feels safe. It gives the illusion of progress without the risk of failure. But learning without action is just entertainment. The people who truly grow are not the ones who have seen the most videos or followed the most experts. They're the ones who take a single idea and apply it relentlessly. They experiment with it, adapt it to their life, fail with it, try again, and eventually master it. They don't just admire someone else's discipline, they build their own. They don't just agree with the message of a powerful speech. They change their daily routine to reflect that message. They don't just nod along to advice. They test it, live it, and allow it to transform them. That's the difference between being a spectator and becoming a creator of your own life. At some point, you have to stop collecting information and start building implementation. If you keep watching videos about waking up early but never set your alarm, what are you really doing? If you keep listening to content about discipline but continue to make excuses, what's actually changing? Growth doesn't happen in the mind alone. It happens in motion. You can't think your way into a new identity. You have to act your way into one. You have to stop asking, "What should I learn next?" and start asking, "What should I do with what I've already learned?" There's a powerful shift that occurs when you transition from being a consumer to being a doer. You begin to see yourself differently. You're no longer just someone who's inspired. You become someone who inspires. You're no longer just someone who listens. You become someone who leads. The confidence you've been searching for doesn't come from more information. It comes from action. Confidence is built when you follow through on what you said you would do. It's built when you trust yourself to execute, to try, to fail, and to get back up. And none of that comes from sitting on the sidelines and consuming more content. Your growth is waiting on the other side of action, but action requires choice. You have to choose to close the app and start writing. Choose to turn off the video and make the call. Choose to stop watching other people live their purpose and start living yours. Every day, you have two options: consume someone else's story or build your own. It's easy to stay stuck in research mode, telling yourself you're preparing, getting ready, learning more. But at some point, preparation becomes procrastination in disguise. You don't need more time. You need more courage. The courage to start, the courage to show up, the courage to move even if it's messy, imperfect, or unclear. This doesn't mean you stop learning. It means you become more intentional about how you learn. Instead of consuming everything, you find what resonates deeply, and then you commit to acting on it. You become a practitioner, not just a student. You reflect on what's working. You hold yourself accountable. You measure your growth not by how much you know, but by how much you've changed. And slowly, steadily, you start to close the gap between who you are and who you're meant to become. When you choose action over endless consumption, something powerful happens. You reclaim control of your growth. You stop depending on the next video to motivate you and start depending on your own ability to follow through. You realize that real motivation isn't something you find. It's something you create by keeping your promises to yourself. You begin to understand that true growth isn't loud or dramatic. It's built quietly in the background, in every small step you take toward becoming the person you've always wanted to be. No one is coming to hand you the life you've been dreaming about. No one is going to show up with a perfect plan, unlimited support, and a guarantee that everything will work out. The truth is hard for most to accept, but it's also incredibly freeing once you understand it. You are responsible for every step forward. You are responsible for the choices you make, the habits you build, the mindset you develop, and the life you create. It's easy to place responsibility on outside factors, on the economy, your upbringing, your boss, your past, or your circumstances. But the people who rise above do so because they stop waiting and start owning. They stop looking outward and begin leading themselves inward. They decide fully and finally to own their journey. When you take full ownership of your life, everything shifts. You stop being the victim of your story and start becoming the author of it. You no longer wait for permission, for ideal conditions, or for someone to tell you you're ready. You give yourself the permission to start. You step into discomfort, uncertainty, and resistance, not because it's easy, but because you know that's where growth begins. The path to your next level isn't found in blaming or waiting. It's found in taking radical responsibility for where you are and where you're going. Taking ownership doesn't mean pretending that life is always fair or that obstacles don't exist. It means recognizing that even if something wasn't your fault, it's still your responsibility to respond. That mindset alone separates those who change their lives from those who simply cope with them. When you stop outsourcing your power to other people, to luck, to timing, or to the past, you reclaim the ability to lead your life forward. That's what personal leadership is. It's not about leading others first. It's about leading yourself. It's about showing up for yourself with discipline, clarity, and commitment every single day, regardless of circumstances or emotions. You don't need someone to come along and fix you. You don't need more people to believe in you before you begin. What you need is to look in the mirror and decide that the person looking back is capable of rising. It starts with a choice to stop waiting for someone to change your life and instead become the person who does. Every decision you make, what time you wake up, how you treat your body, how you handle setbacks, how you speak to yourself, these choices compound into results. These are the invisible bricks of self-leadership, and each day you are either building the life you want or reinforcing the one you're stuck in. The challenge with taking full ownership is that it removes the comfort of excuses. Excuses protect us from responsibility. They offer temporary relief from the weight of change, but they also keep us stuck. They sound like, "I'll start when I have more time," or "I'm just not ready yet," or "it's not the right environment." But behind every excuse is fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of discomfort. The moment you strip away the excuse and say, "It's on me," you also unlock the power to do something about it. Ownership is uncomfortable at first, but it's the only path to empowerment. Every person you admire, every story that inspires you is built on ownership. Someone somewhere decided they weren't going to wait. They weren't going to let their circumstances dictate their potential. They weren't going to let fear hold the pen in the story of their life. They stepped forward, stumbled, learned, and grew, not because they were lucky, but because they were responsible. They understood that their future was not a matter of chance, but a matter of choice. Leading yourself means taking action, not only when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. It means keeping promises to yourself even when no one else is watching. It means holding yourself to a higher standard, not for the sake of perfection, but for the sake of growth. It means doing the small, unglamorous things every single day that build momentum, confidence, and credibility with yourself. That internal credibility becomes your foundation. Because when you trust yourself to show up, to push through, and to figure it out, you stop needing the world's approval. You become grounded in who you are and what you're building. No one else can walk this path for you. No one can build your habits, develop your resilience, or create your discipline. It has to come from you. The life you want is not handed to you, it's built by you, one choice at a time, one challenge at a time, one decision at a time. Ownership is not a one-time act, it's a daily practice. It's how you reclaim your time, your energy, and your identity. It's how you turn intention into action and action into transformation. It's how you stop reacting to life and start building the life you were meant to lead.